My biggest fear in life was that God would call me to be a priest, because it was never something I thought I wanted to do. And most people won't even get to the point of opening that dialogue with the Lord to say, what do you want with my life? Why did you create me? So I think the most important thing any man can do is put himself in a situation of vulnerability before the Lord. Like, that's true worship of, you're the one who created me, you love me more than anybody else, you want my happiness more than I wanted, and you actually know what's going to make me happy. Therefore, what do you want from my life?
I think that will be my answer, and I hope that will break the ice, because truly, I don't know. I mean, I was raised in a family of 6. Okay, I have 3 siblings, 2 brothers and 1 sister, and my oldest brother was always kind of the type of seminarian, priest-to-be type of person. I was a troublemaker when I was a boy. When I was younger, I was a troublemaker. And so I never thought about becoming a priest. My first vocation was become a doctor or a teacher, okay? But never to become a priest. And so I do not know what God called me, okay? I don't know. But I think that's the answer that I will give to the person asking me that question. And maybe I will add that being a priest is the best thing that ever happened in my life.
It was right at the end of high school where I had a profound experience of not only knowing God's love for me, but having an experience that God was asking me to give myself totally to Him. And the means by which He was asking me to do that was through priesthood in the Diocese of Boise. And as soon as I had that experience, I was able to talk to the vocations director, and he was able to give me guidance and direction on my next steps so that I was able to enter seminary soon after that and start my preparation for the priesthood.
I don't know that love at first sight, it happens that often. And I don't know if it happened to me. What I did know within a month of meeting her, that's a girl I wanted to marry. 8 years into our marriage, though, Jackie was diagnosed with breast cancer. My faith was significantly enhanced by Jackie's acceptance of that truth in her life, that medical truth, that this was something that she was not going to overcome. And even the day that they shared that diagnosis with us, I remember sitting next to her, and I'm shaking, I'm a mess. And she, upon hearing those words of what the diagnosis revealed, she reached down and held my hand and just said, "Be still and know that I am God." Yeah. And for the next 6 years, that's how she lived, so profoundly secure in her faith. And as her husband, I felt completely incapable of helping her in her faith walk, completely incapable of doing anything medically. Here I am working on medical equipment during the day. One of the vocation influences I had was the young parochial vicar in our parish at the time. Father Luan would come at 11 at night, and he would stay with us for an hour or 2. Now, I knew because he's the parochial vicar, he had morning mass, but he came every night for 8 days. He came every night and spent time with us. And the day she died in 2008 was a Sunday. She died during the middle of the night. I was privileged to be able to hold her as her life on this earth ended. And at 7 in the morning, there was a knock on our door, and it's Father Luan. And he said, "Hi, I just thought you might like Mass in your home today." And I thought, gosh, because I said to my family who had awakened, to Jackie's parents, "Who called the priest?" and none of them had. He came on his own to our house that morning at 7 a.m. knowing he had a morning mass a little bit later that morning. And I thought, boy, much like those young Marines I'd seen earlier in my life, I want to be around men like that. Coincidentally, after she had died, my boss did one of the kindest things in retrospect, but at the time I didn't understand. 2 months after she died, he sends me on an expat assignment to live in Holland. And in the quiet of that small apartment and in the solitude, the involuntary solitude of my wife's passing, I had a time to reflect on, well, what do I really do now, and how do I help best? I wanted to do something more direct, more hands-on, if you will. I contact Father Caleb Vogel, who was then the vocations director for the Diocese of Boise, and we meet, and I share my story with him, and I share my interest and tell him how I came to that decision point of inquiring about entering studies towards chaplaincy or priesthood. And a long story made very short is roughly 2 months later, I entered Mount Angel Seminary as a seminary.
In my own life, I've experienced that anything that the Lord is asking of us, especially in regards to a vocation, He exceeds every fear or every thought of sacrifice, or that I can't do this, or any place of poverty that any of us are living in, any place that we can't do something. And He meets that and He exceeds it in, as the psalmist says, abundance follows in His steps. So He brings this great abundance, and in my own life I've really experienced that with the people in Idaho. Just right away I felt so welcomed and so loved and so desired. There's the spouse of Christ is the church, and so a priest lives that kind of that relationship in a certain way, and so to be desired as a bridegroom, as one to serve the people of God with this complete sacrifice. And so for any young men or any young men who are potentially considering a call to the priesthood, or thinking that God is calling you to be a priest, any question of like, can you do it, or how, or maybe will I be happy, or any fear, the greatest question is not one of those. It's, are you willing? Are you willing to allow God to do great things in your life? Because ultimately, that's what He wants. That's what's going to make us happy. That's what's going to fulfill every one of our desires. Especially as men, we want to do great things. We want to be warriors or soldiers or great fathers, providers. And so are you willing to give your yes to Christ, to serve as a fisherman, as a warrior, as a farmer, as anyone in the harvest that is abundant? We need laborers, not just to be servants, not just to do all of this work and maybe there will be some fruit, but to just be these instruments, these warriors for Christ, these soldiers in this great battlefield where we know who the victor is. So if you think that God might be calling you to be a priest, He will give you any of the graces that you are needing, any grace that you lack.